This week on the Nerdy Gritty, Avengers: Infinity War. Did it live up to the universe that Marvel has been building for 10 years?
Hey guys, welcome back to the Nerdy Gritty, where we delve deep to the details of pop culture. I am Dez.
I'm Fox.
And something amazing happened the other day, and I was actually really surprised because moments like this don't happen often, really, but
It sounds like it's going to be serious, but it's not.
A parent of 3 children, and I got to see a movie.
Wow.
Yeah, I got
For the first time in the history of the world,
right,
a parent saw a movie.
Well, a parent of 3, like, small children.
Okay.
Yeah, when you have teenagers, man,
Say words.
Say words, indeed. It is expensive to go see movies.
Yes, it is. Unless you get Movie Pass. Hey, buy Movie Pass, everybody, so that it continues forever.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Just, I am an adult that, we got 2 tickets. That was $20. It was like $19.50 or whatever. And then...
yeah, you saw a matinee, so...
And then was it more expensive at...
Yeah. A matinee is several dollars cheaper. Like, after 6 p.m., it goes up like $4.
It's like $13 to see a movie?
I believe so. Yeah, like 11.
Sweet.
Oh, maybe they might have raised matinee prices. Because I actually think it's like 11. Anyway, go ahead.
So, then we just got candy. And candy was
it's going to be $100,000.
Yeah. It was insane. Of course, I will admit that we fell prey to the, touch screen, it pours and mixes the candy.
That thing is always tantalizing, but I am a cheap man.
I will say this.
So I will never...
I'll never do it again, but I don't regret getting peanut butter M&Ms and Reese's Pieces in the same cup.
And
just shaking that up.
Those are very similar.
They're different enough.
They're different, but they're very similar.
They're different enough,
I guess,
to make it incredible.
Here's the thing. Movie Pass, you use it, you basically get free movies, essentially, $10 a month, 1 free movie a day. You still can get points on all your Regal purchases. And once you get a certain amount of movies, you enter into their Diamond Club and get just bonus 1,000 points every time you see a movie. So I have gone to the movies a lot. I've seen 23 movies in the last 3 months and paid $40 for those tickets total.
Right.
And then also, the last 3 times I've been to the movie, I have gotten popcorn for free with all the points that I've acquired. So I don't pay anything when I go to the movies anymore. You want to know how many times I see movies? I saw Rampage on Saturday.
You did?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I got nothing else to see. Or at least nothing that worked for a time. Nothing I wanted to see at a good time on Saturday. Here's what I'll say. It was stupid.
Okay, good.
It was essentially like a Roland Emmerich movie, like Independence Day or 2012 or Day After Tomorrow, just like large-scale destruction. Not as large-scale as those, but just big, dumb destruction action movie, but smarter. It could have been worse. It could have been stupider.
That's fine.
Most things can be stupider.
That. Yeah.
This one could have been stupider.
Yeah.
It was still real dumb.
Yes.
There was nothing, interesting about it. It was just people shooting at things, like big monsters.
Well, wasn't there, The Rock has friends with the gorilla or something?
Yes, he's like
that?
a gorilla trainer, or he's like a primatologist. And I will say...
The Rock as anything that ends with ologist? No. Done.
Well, okay.
Game over.
So they actually did give him some decent background. He was in the military, in certain, he was, quote, in wars all over the world, and basically, through what he told, it was really good, actually, how they explained it. He was in Africa or something, and basically found a heart for taking down poachers. Through the combat he saw, he was against poachers.
Okay, wait, hang on. So he's a soldier that was traveling the world.
I don't think he was military. I think he was mercenary type guy.
And so he ends up in Africa.
Sure, South America. He talks he's all over the place.
And there are poachers.
Yes.
And he's just I'm gonna kill them.
Well, yes. Yeah,
it's not a job for him or anything?
there's actually a pretty like he's part of a group that does that. Like
Oh,
that was fighting.
okay.
No, he's not just
he was
running
there for a war.
He's not just running through the veld, just shooting people. That
I thought he was
This
there
is who I am now.
for a war and decides, you know what I do on my free time?
I don't know. There wasn't a whole lot of explanation.
I have leave. I'm gonna go kill some poachers.
It just seemed like he didn't want to be he wanted to have a cause. And I'm giving it more than the movie gave you,
Right.
but it was more than typically is given.
Murder is a cause.
Well, it was protection of endangered species.
Via murder.
Well, yeah, killing poachers, which is perfectly legal in some countries.
That's true.
Like that's
fair.
like you are murdering endangered species, it is okay to kill you back.
Man, that's just... I get that they're trying to establish
sure.
something good, and they're also trying to establish that
that's why that's
a combat-ready guy.
Sure. Oh, 100%. That's why he can then use a grenade launcher to shoot a giant crocodile.
Right. So, then it's all explained now.
Yes.
Everything now makes
get
sense.
It. Yeah, this is totally logical and makes sense. But anyway, that's why I'm saying it could have been stupider. They gave him some background. They gave him some character. He's not much of a people person. Like, they did a decent job, but overall, real dumb movie.
Yeah, I mean,
as you would expect.
I guess that's better than just he's been a primatologist and his dad was a primatologist and he's been doing this since birth and now he can shoot missile launchers.
It's better than Action Man.
Yeah.
He actually had a background that they hinted at a little bit, and it was
good.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, it was pretty stupid. I don't regret seeing it though, because of the aforementioned paying nothing.
Right. That's good, man. We'll get to the movie I saw in a little bit,
right?
Because it's kind of today's topic, obviously. But my wife and I have taken a break from really bad fantasy movies because we got to a point that we were really like scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Sure.
And kind of like we talked about in our episode that was what makes bad movies good
last week.
Yeah, we saw a couple of movies that, I mean, weren't even in standard or weren't even high definition. They were in standard definition, like not even like S video. Like it was just 100% standard definition.
Crappy camera quality.
Horrific acting.
Yeah.
And we got like 5 minutes into it.
At a certain point, it's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
When you're just watching it, that's the difference between a bad and good movie.
But I went and watched Solomon Kane because that one was...
Oh, yeah. I've seen that on Netflix. I think,
it was like a 7 stars, which was a lot more than what we normally watch.
Does that have Sean Bean?
No.
It's I'm thinking of
it's got
something else.
There are some people in it in which they play side characters in a lot of different movies.
Gotcha.
And has those people in it. As far as Solomon Kane, the main character goes, the main thing I know him from is he is the spoiler alert to the first Resident Evil movie.
Oh no.
Yeah. He is the husband turned villain. So the pretend husband that turns out to be the real villain in
He's Wesker? No,
not Wesker. So in the first Resident Evil movie, Alice wakes up in the home and she sees photos of herself with a man.
Picture. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Guy.
But here's the thing: it was actually a good movie.
Sure.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
There's a lot of movies on Netflix that you've never heard of and probably wouldn't watch because of it, but they're actually kind of okay.
Yeah.
A lot of them are like made in other countries and then just put on Netflix, and people don't know them, so they don't watch them.
No, they built a really good character in Solomon Kane as a guy who, so they start the movie with him as this like horrific pirate, murderer. I am
you monster of a human being who even has a ringer on their phone anymore.
I'm sorry.
Who even has it not on vibrate or silent and just checks it every 30 seconds? Like, this is 2018.
Anyway, so like this horrific pirate, this awful murderer person, and at the end, he is going to get this magical item
thing,
and MacGuffin. It's not even MacGuffin because it's literally the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Gotcha.
He goes to get it, and instead it's a trap by Satan, and he's like, I'm here to claim your soul.
Oh, that's fun.
You have done enough that it's time, man. Like, I'm
piqued
not
my
waiting
interest.
for you to die. Yeah. And so he escapes and hides away at a monastery and entirely devotes his life to Christ and becomes a pacifist.
Ooh.
And
then things come back. And
exactly
he's gotta
that.
deal with them.
Exactly that. And that's the long and short of it there.
Okay.
And so it's a good movie, and I enjoyed it, and it turns out to be action movie.
Yeah.
But there's some really good character in there and things like that. So I enjoy it. It was real good.
I've been continuing playing God of War.
Yes, that's
Gotten
good.
to some good stuff.
Oh my gosh!
Things from the old games from like 1, 2, and 3 have come into play, and it's just the best thing.
Good.
It's just such a I played all 3 of them, and it's bringing back memories. Like, oh right, because in my brain I was like, oh, Athena was like the kind of nice one. Oh wait, eventually she was not.
No, yeah.
She did. Nobody was the nice one. But just there's this like really interesting tension between spoilers, kind of. It's not like it's not surprising that it happens, but eventually Kratos tells Atreus that he's a god,
right?
And that both of them are gods, of course, because of it. And it's just this really interesting like. It's like the Spider-Man idea, exactly where with great power comes great responsibility, because Atreus just starts acting like, I'm a god, I can do whatever I want. Like, he specifically mentions that he doesn't feel bad about killing those dark elves earlier, now that he knows he's a god. Which is really interesting, because I didn't feel bad because they were fighting, like Kratos, or myself playing. Well, myself playing, I didn't feel bad because I was just playing a game, and they were bad guys that got in my way.
Yeah.
But Kratos, he says, no, we had to defend ourselves. They brought their business upon us. And he was like, well, it doesn't really matter. We're gods. Like, we can do what we want, right? Mm-hmm. And like, it's just like, no, that's not how it works. Mm. But then like Kratos, like, I want Kratos to tell him his entire past, but then that's just going to feed into this idea where Kratos is like used his power to kill everybody. Like, it's just this really good, here's what I'll say. They've done a very good job at taking what happened in the earlier games and using them in an interesting way, even though those games were not meant to be used this way.
Right.
Cory Barlog, who's the writer of the first one and the second one and this one, I'm very impressed by him. I always want to call him Cory Balrog, but it's Barlog. Really great. One other thing that I've not mentioned, I'm starting a D&D campaign on Friday.
Yeah!
Well, it would have been 3 days ago as of this. And we've been ramping up to that. We had a character building session, which is really fun. I've got 2 people who have never, ever played. 2 people who have played a total of 3 sessions. And then my wife and I who've played a decent amount.
Yep.
We're playing 5th edition, which I've never played, but I love it so far. Just learning the rules, like it's a really good combination. Because I played 4th edition a little bit,
right,
and mostly 3.5, and it seems like a really good streamlining right in the middle of those.
Yep,
where it doesn't take away all the minutia of the details, but it also doesn't just overladen you with 100 different skills to deal. Well, not 100, but yeah, it's really fun. So I'll probably just kind of do like in the future. Maybe do a brief like synopsis of what happened in our sessions, because in this, if we want to do that, but I'm really excited for that. That's
awesome. Back to God of War a little bit, and then on to my D&D campaign, because I'm in a very different boat than you right now.
Right.
So God of War, I'm enjoying this game because it's an incredible game, but also because, to me, it's redeeming the 2nd and 3rd iteration of the games. Yeah. Because 2 was like, all right, we're doing it again, and it's awesome, and let's do this again. And then 3 was like, we're doing this again? Like, again, 3 was not a bad game.
1, 2, and 3 were all great games to play.
Exactly, yes.
They were really fun.
But by the 3rd game, it has become very bleak.
Yes, and it became about, I'm a rage monster fighting people. The first one is a classic Greek tragedy.
Yes.
Like, through and through. Hero gives his life in service to the gods, is betrayed, winds up killing his family, and seeks revenge.
Yes.
Classic. Set 2 and 3 are basically more of that, kind of, but without like the real emotional
Greek tragedy, the sequel.
Yeah, it's Die Harder in Greece, where it's like, it's not as good, but I guess.
And so if you were to just finish with 3 and be done, you'd be like, well, Kratos killed everybody.
Yep.
Cool. But now we see him here. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Dusts his hands off. Now we see him here and we're like, oh, there were consequences to that. Like, he is this guilt-ridden, not defeated, but just like self-hatred.
Right. He hates who he is.
Yeah.
There's a great line from Mimir. Mimir, where he's like, once he learns that he's a god, once he learns who Kratos is, the ghost of Sparta, he's heard of him. He's like, oh, that just makes sense now.
Yeah.
You hate all gods. Mm-hmm. That includes you.
Yep.
And it includes your son.
Yep.
And he feels that. And that was such a good, like, oh, yeah. Like, Kratos clearly cares for the boy. But also, like,
he hates that side of him.
Yeah, hates what he's given to him as, like probably never intended to have another son.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a really complex story.
That is such a good
and it's great. Yeah.
part right there. You're the bloody ghost of Sparta.
And you're like, oh, he knows who he is.
Exactly. Like he's heard of him.
It made a really good connection between the two worlds. The only connection between them before was Kratos. Same character. Now it's like, oh no, his exploits have been... And then
They've reached a different
And then
pantheon.
you're like, oh, right. He murdered a pantheon of gods. Of course the world's going to know about that.
The world knows.
It's going to have repercussions.
And that's one thing. So moving on to my D&D campaign, I told my characters type of thing because we're playing 5th edition. We've been playing for years. So we just started a new campaign. And I'm like, you guys start at level 10.
Oh.
Just so you know, y'all have a bit of a reputation. You're going to go places and people are going to know who you are.
People are going to react to you.
Just because, I mean, you don't get that powerful without...
Oh, yeah.
So, like, you're not world famous.
The rule books themselves say once you hit about level 7, like, you've got some renown. You can't do these things without people hearing of tales of your exploits.
And so it goes like, one of our guys is a war hero and he travels around. And sometimes people are like, you're that murderer. You're that person who just, like genocide. And he's like, no, like, it was war. I did what I had to do. And they're like, did you?
Right.
You know, things like that.
That's
Unfortunately,
cool.
2 of our players are moving away right now. And so we're working on because they're moving to the East Coast, so the time change is going to ruin us. But we're like, maybe we can Skype you in. That's kind of what we're going on right now.
Really? You're going to try to do it?
We're going to try to do it. We are.
Good luck.
Thanks. But really what I want to talk about before, and we're going a little bit long on just our intro stuff here, but I finished Mulaka. And it's a really great game. I beat it. And what I want to tell all of you guys here is if you have the opportunity to do some sort of interactive cultural research like Mulaka, I actually found out more about the Egypt one. And it's actually more like a guided tour in Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it takes gameplay out of it as well. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it removes combat and quests, and then you just travel the world. You can see it without the threat of being hurt, and then take tours of various locations.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's very, very cool. But in Mulaka, I like that was the point of the game, was to do something like that.
Yeah.
So do it is my point. Do it. It was incredible. It was great.
It's what games should be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. But speaking of what games and things should be doing, what should Marvel be doing? And did they succeed?
Good transition,
did they live up to what they were promising to us? So the movie I got to recently see was Infinity War.
Yes.
And it's something that we've been trying to talk about for a while. And here's the thing. So Fox and I want to talk about it a lot. And I saw it. I'm going to say 2 things that are going to sound a little bit separated, but they're absolutely both true. Number 1, it was super fun.
Yeah,
and I really enjoyed watching it. It was a very fun
movie.
Yeah, and it did a lot of things really, really well.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was pretty good. You know, just as far... Or this is my opinion of it. Like,
sure.
I thought it was an above average to good movie. Probably a good movie. But it was not great. It was not stellar. It was... Like, I really enjoyed it, but I was also disappointed.
I can understand that. This is a movie where I liked it more than you did.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, and I think I enjoyed it more on like wow, that was an impressive feat of script writing.
Oh,
screenplay creation.
I cannot
like.
imagine.
I enjoyed it more. Not more on technical things, but more on technical things. No, I don't know if I enjoyed it more because of that, but I was very impressed by how well they created that movie.
You know what I really want? I want a Lord of the Rings style 3.5 hour extended edition.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That would be incredible.
Yeah,
and I think that would have a lot of redeeming possibility to
that's the
this
sign
movie.
of a good movie when you want more of it.
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe not because he felt like it was missing,
No.
but because, hey, it'd be cool to see more. Like,
I mean,
there's some cool stuff in there.
It would be better, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
The extended editions of Lord of the Rings are better.
Better, yes.
But the regular editions are also really good.
Very good.
Yeah.
So here are our questions, or here is the main question is, did they live up to the promise of 10 years of building up storyline? Like, this is supposed to be the end game for, and is the end game.
For like the first, there's still more movies.
Arc.
They're not done.
Well, there are more characters is my point. Like,
yes.
Like, again, this is supposed to be the end game for, this arc, as well as it is the end for some characters.
Yes.
So
yeah, we will get into spoilers
with
here.
That being stated,
you should know that.
Yes. This is going to be a spoiler-rich version of this. So, huge spoilers for Infinity War if you haven't seen it.
Lots of things you don't want to know if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, absolutely that. So, when Hawkeye kisses Batman...
Yes.
I was shocked.
I was wondering, like, is his wife okay with this? Do they have that kind of relationship?
Well, she was watching. You know what I mean? Like, and the look on her face was like...
Right, but she was watching as she was getting into the TARDIS, and she really didn't have the opportunity
to stop them. Yeah, you know. And to think that this whole time... the
Thundercats were secretly...
Doctor Who.
They were...
Lionel.
The 13th Doctor is Lionel.
So
anyway,
no,
that would be a better movie. But let's talk about Avengers.
I don't know if that would be a better movie.
The way Disney's going, all of this is going to happen eventually.
Oh, for sure.
It's going to be like, with the way Disney's going with buying stuff, it's going to be like when you put a million monkeys on a million typewriters.
It's going to be Ready Player One.
Everything will happen that can possibly happen. A lot of it's going to be nonsense, but then you're going to have Lion-O be a Time Lord.
Disney will own all fictional properties at some point.
And they'll make some pretty good movies.
They will make some really good movies.
Yeah, they'll be fun.
And all of us who will pay for nostalgia.
Okay, anyway, 10 years ago. A week before Infinity War, like 9 years and 51 weeks before Infinity War came out, Iron Man 1 came out.
Right.
The beginning of the actual Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, you can argue that the Hulk before that was it was related. It's hard to do
this
that.
This is the first one that's really in this.
Yes, these are
story.
What the overarching, what connects them is that it's Marvel Studios. Marvel themselves are making it, it's not just a Marvel brand superhero.
Right.
So, Iron Man 1, Robert Downey Jr., way back when, was the first one in there. And at the very end of that movie, the end credits scene, Nick Fury shows up and he says, I want you to be part of I want to tell you about the Avengers Initiative, signaling, hey, there's more to come. And basically that's been their modus operandi for every single movie. Single movie, basically on its own, like pretty much disconnected from others as far as the specific story they're telling. But connections to everything else.
Right.
Yes.
Beginning those connections. Over the course of 10 years, they put out many movies.
19 movies.
19 movies, and all of them are connected, storylines, all of them are interwoven.
Yes.
And they are all of these, so pretty much these 19 movies are leading up to this one film.
Well, okay, that's what we have to say is not technically this one film.
No,
because the next Avengers next May is a sequel. It's a direct sequel. It's a continuation of the story. So this is all with the caveat that we don't know the end of this story,
right?
And that could change everything, you know.
So here is my problem with what happened in Avengers: Infinity War.
Okay,
one of many. I have a lot of issues.
Sure.
First and foremost, I have a lot of issues. Yeah. Here's my overarching issue with it, and it's similar to the fear that I had in the first place. It's not exactly this, but it's similar to the fear I had in the first place. My first fear was, you have so many characters, can you give them all appropriate screen time and appropriate mention. I'm glad they just left some people out.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad Hawkeye never showed up, that Ant-Man never showed up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
But they mention him, which is nice.
Yeah, everybody gets at least a mention. Yeah,
Yep.
that's true. But some people just aren't in the movie. But which I wonder if Jeremy Renner was okay with that. Like, he is an Avenger, but anyway.
Whatever. He's got a family. He's got a reason to not be there.
Yeah, he had a very good
As
reason
in his
to not be there.
in movie
Hawkeye.
family. Yes.
Yeah. It seemed like, and my wife and I talked about this afterward, and she actually is the one who brought this up in the first place, and I really agreed with her. It seemed like it was 3 disjointed stories, and each one of those stories could have deserved their own 2 to 2.5 hour movie. But instead, they had to like squish and slam and shove all of these 3 stories together. Now they did, and you said this, and I agree with you, they did as good as they possibly could with that.
If that's what they're trying to do, put all 3 of those stories in one movie,
Right.
They did a very, very good job.
Yes. But as good as you can possibly do, still made it feel like 3 rushed 1 hour movies that were great. They were good. They were really fun. They were great, but all 3 were rushed, and all 3 were pushed through really fast. And so, you asked me why before, because we've already began conversation.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit.
So why did I feel that way? There were a lot of moments that I think deserved more time, particularly the way that people mourn or like greet or like Hulk seeing Cap again. We never see that moment. It should be like holy crap, you haven't existed. You flew into outer space.
Been multiple years.
Yes,
like 4 years.
And now you're back. Holy crap. And like, we're not given that. We get Bruce saying Thanos is coming. Okay, and then we're done, and then we move on with it. And I get that there is an urgency and like a fear going on.
I mean, Cap
in
isn't
all
in
of
that
this.
scene. They don't meet until they're in Wakanda.
No, but not until they're in Wakanda. Is that when they?
That's
meet?
when Bruce. Yeah.
Oh no! Oh, I'm thinking War Machine is when and then he meets like Scarlet Witch. You know what I mean? When he meets not Scarlet Witch, sorry, Black Widow. When he sees Black Widow, and there's like
that's also on Wakanda.
Is it all in Wakanda?
Yes.
Anyway, but there's that moment of it's like 5 seconds of like a awkward tension because we like each other. But
yeah. I see. Okay, now
but then they just they blow past
right.
it.
There's
and
like
it's gone.
Sure.
Never referred to again.
I could agree with you. Like if they spent more time doing things, it would have felt nice. I don't think there was enough in any of those individual storylines to constitute the point of this movie was Thanos. And the urgency with which they had to stop this ultra beast, not a Pokemon ultra beast, but this guy from destroying everything. And so
Buzzhole is coming, or Buzzswole.
Buzzhole?
Not Buzzhole, Buzzswole.
Ooh. That's my least favorite Pokemon. Buzzhole.
Buzzswole is not much better.
Yeah, it's not.
He's a big buff Pokemon, and his name is Buzzswole.
Look, we can all agree that Pokemon have gone downhill since second generation. Anyway.
Well, when one of them became the Doctor,
Lionel, he's a Pokemon now. I could agree with you. There are some moments where I think it would have been better to have a little bit more breathing room, a little more time to understand what's happening. Maybe not understand what's happening because I never was confused.
Right,
what
I
was
agree.
going on. It was more just time to enjoy what was happening.
Or mourn.
Sure, or mourn. I do believe that the pacing gave urgency to the actual, like, if you had all this time where Thanos is supposed to be this threat that's happening, but there's like a 5-minute scene dedicated to the Hulk and Natasha, it would have felt weird because, wait, aren't you guys supposed to be going and preparing for war with Thanos? Like, why are you standing here talking about this?
Then have a 45-second, 1-minute scene of the two of them being, like, her being like, you left. And he's like, I had to. Like, you don't know what it's like to have him in my head. And she's like, but you could have said... And then Cap says, we don't have time for this.
Sure.
We need to prepare.
Yeah, no, look. Yeah, that would have been great. I was okay without it.
Right.
I like that they addressed that it was awkward between them with that brief moment, like, hey, like that kind of thing, because it would have been awkward. Like, it was her fault that he left, basically. because she betrayed him into becoming the Hulk again.
Right.
He understands probably because it was what they needed. But all, like all these things, it would have been great to have some of those little extended character moments. But also, I think they sacrificed, quote unquote, what they needed to make the actual point of the movie take the time, because it was already 2 hours and 36 minutes long.
Yes.
And if they added more, like, they would have had to cut somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that what they decided to focus on as far as character building was Thanos.
Yes.
That's
oh man,
to relate it to the last 10 years. Thanos has been an actual thing that we have like seen since the first Avengers.
Yeah.
Which was 2012. So
which is funny because
6 years ago.
I think his end credit scene was, I guess I'll just have to do it myself. And then there was 8 years.
Yeah.
It's like, look, Thanos, that took a long time for you to do it yourself. That's a bit of an issue, yeah, because him doing it himself meant I'm going to get my 4 Black Order guys to go do it for me. I'm going to get some other villains to do it for me. Like, that didn't make much sense. Well, no, sorry. The first Thanos was they don't fear death. Really? And, like, remember at the end of that, like, that's after all of it's down? I do remember that,
yes. Yeah. So, the fine, I'll do it myself is in Avengers 2, I believe. I think it's at the end of Avengers 2.
Either way, it
didn't make any sense. But anyway.
I want to talk about what I liked about it at the end. Because at the end of the day, I just want to make sure that people understand. I think it's a good movie. But I think right now on IMDb, what is reflected there is very similar to how I feel, where it's got like a 98% fresh fan rating. And I think people really enjoy it. But I think looking at it critically, it's got like an 85% or 85 Metacritic, which I'd give it a little bit less than that even, but I'd give it like a 78 probably. But at the end of the day, yeah. Like,
those are pretty similar.
Critically, it's not being received as well.
Yeah, 100%.
And so let's talk about what I liked about it at the end. Right now, again, with the time was given things, and we're getting really into heavy spoils here, Loki dies in like the first 8 minutes of the movie.
Sure, I'm fully expecting him to not be dead.
Really?
Well, hey, I'd love it if he was. I want that kind of stuff to happen. I think they also needed to establish the threat that Thanos was.
Yes.
To that opening scene was dark, to establish the tone of the movie they were making. He dies. Heimdall dies, and then their entire ship explodes. Like, it's not a fun opening scene. Well, that Hulk gets wrecked in the first 5 seconds.
And man, see, it's hilarious. The fact that Hulk gets wrecked by Thanos, and
like it's a joke.
Yeah, and then Hulk doesn't come out for the whole movie.
Yeah, he's scared.
He's terrified.
No, I don't want to do that.
No,
which is great.
Oh, it is.
Okay, little bit of fan fiction, or like what I hope happens. I hope I'm really expecting Cap or Thor to get the gauntlet, and I want them to use the Soul Stone to remove the Hulk from Bruce Banner and have them be separate. That's what happens in the comics.
Yeah.
And I think they could make that happen, and so that Bruce Banner could like be free of it, and like, and him and Natasha could be like on their own, and Hulk could still fight. Anyway,
what I want is for Cap to teach Bruce Banner how to fight, like actually legitimately fight. And then when he turns into the Hulk, have it, because again,
combat ready Hulk.
So this is again, whenever I say stuff like this, I always feel like look how cool, but I'm not. This is just true. Like, I have a lot of martial arts experience, as well as this is so nerdy. When I was in junior high and high school, I played the Warhammer tabletop game. Mm-hmm. And so there was an elective course. No, there was an elective course that was War Strategy of History that I took
to play Warhammer.
To play Warhammer better.
That's amazing.
It worked. It really worked. Actually, like, I was pretty good.
Wow. Okay.
But watching this movie really frustrated me as a martial artist and somebody who has actually like studied some military history. And that was another thing that I was really frustrated with, is there were just a lot of decisions. Like, first of all, as far as martial arts goes, watching Thanos beat the crap out of the Hulk was because there was not a concept of strength at that point. That was a context of ability, and it worked. Like, I loved that moment when Thanos just beat the crap out of the Hulk. Yeah. It was so good.
Great.
Anyway, but as far as just like military like strategy. There was that whole scene in Wakanda where there's the invasion, and when you are being sieged, when you are besieged,
yes,
your goal is to hunker down, build up defenses, and funnel your enemy into singular areas, and then attempt to, bring them down droves at a time, kind of like Spartan,
which is what they did.
They funneled them into one area, and then they just charged in. It would be essentially like opening the gates of your castle and having all your soldiers run out there. Why? Like, that was just such a weird thing to me. Instead of...
Because movie.
And see, that's not a good enough explanation.
Oh, it's not a historical drama.
Right, but the whole thing is you have, like, battle, war, incredible genius people of Wakanda and Falcon and Captain America, like, all these generals and stuff like that are ready with their battle strategies, and they are all set up with their shields with... It's episode 1 of Star Wars. And they have their shield dome.
Just
and
as
their
good.
Invisible shield things. No, episode 1 was better. Don't do that.
Yeah, that's true. I'm sorry.
Their invisible shield things.
Sure.
And they're all set up. And they're like, nah. And then they open the dome and put all their shields down and just run in and fight.
Well, they start with, like, they have their spears that shoot lasers. And they start with their flyers that go in and clear out some people. Like
the flyers were good.
Sure. That seems like it's reaching for a reason not to like the movie, though.
But for somebody who is sitting there waiting for this, like, they build up this huge moment of, like, here's all the Wakanda military, and they are there with their fancy weapons and their Wakandan shields and all this cool stuff, and then they run in and they stab them with spears.
Yeah.
Like, where are their Wakandan... like, massive planes, drones that are going to come in and just blast them from the sky? Where are the Wakandan
there's the
cannons or whatever? Things like that.
They have a shield that doesn't allow things like that to fly in.
Other things flew in there. You can do low-flying drones.
They had people flying around, but...
Yeah.
Okay, look,
anyway,
this isn't what I want to talk about. I get that you might not like that.
Yeah.
That's a pretty minor reason to think it's to not enjoy a movie.
Well, but my problem was, that was a pivotal part of the movie. That was like a huge moment of protecting Vision. And I'm like, but now that's just a really poor choice of what you're doing. Like, why? What's going on here? And that, to me, that kind of broke the tension of the moment. It seemed really silly of them. And then for Scarlet Witch, she had a really great moment. It was really cool for her to go out there and save the day, but also... she shouldn't have gone out there to save the day. Like, she was supposed to be in there to protect Vision, and the moment she leaves, well, guess what? They go get Vision. Like, she leaves her post, and exactly the danger of her leaving her post happens.
Sure, but you understand why she did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Right there. It's like Peter Quill punching Thanos repeatedly in the face. Everybody hates that because, oh, what an idiot. Why would he do that? No. Look, stupid mistake doesn't mean it's not that you don't understand why. If you understand character motivation, that shouldn't overcome, logic. He should have done this. No, he just found out that the love of his life was murdered by this guy.
Right.
He's gonna be angry. He's gonna punch him in the face. That's his response to the thing, when he gets angry.
Right. And it just so happened, that's another scene to me that was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. That whole scene where Gamora dies, by the way, just so you guys know, she
and
has to be...
the Red Skull shows up in my favorite moment. Because it was so stupid. It was such obvious fan service that I loved it.
I mean,
it was fan service.
Explained it.
Yeah, exactly.
But then
it was fan service that had no bearing on the movie. It's just like, oh, he just happens to be the guy that's there. Okay, he's gone now. It doesn't matter.
What have you been eating?
What if it? Oh, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
He's been sustained by the Soul Stone.
That's so weird to me. But yeah, it was. You said it. It was dumb, but it was fun.
It was dumb, but it was fun.
Yeah.
And that's what matters. Like, it didn't. It was like, oh, cool. Oh, and then they get him out of... If he was like, now I'm coming with you, you're like, nope, don't do that.
Exactly.
But he just said, I'm here the Soul Stone demands a sacrifice, and then he's gone, and the actual point of the scene is Thanos actually cares about somebody. I want to get away from what we're talking about, because we're getting into the minutia of the movie, which is fine.
So, no, I'm getting to another point.
Okay, we need to build up. We're talking about where it's come from, though, and how this movie has built is the culmination of 10 years. And that's why I was saying that I think Thanos is the best, is where they rightly so put the focus. He's supposed to have been a threat from the first Avengers. We didn't know why he was. We knew he had like an army, I guess, but we didn't know who he was. And then eventually in Avengers 2, we learned a little bit about who he is. In Guardians, we learned that he's Gamora's father. And that he's, trying to gather these stones. And I wish they had done more to establish his threat. He killed a guy in one of them, I think, but doesn't do anything else. But I think they did a very good job of now he's this threat. He's not just bad guy of the week.
Right. They've been building up for him to be a terror. And they're building like this... out of movie fear of him, like you as a viewer.
Oh, Thanos.
Yeah, like you are building this foreboding of Thanos.
Right, exactly.
And now he comes, and guess what? He lives up to it.
And they show it to you in the first 10 seconds.
He lives up because, they essentially take the entire movie of Thor Ragnarok and blow it up.
Right.
In the first 10 seconds.
And also Loki has that great, we have a Hulk. He turns that line back. It's so good. And then he attacks. And then, oh, wait, nope, he's a bad guy. Oh, no. He's not just, this is not good. And I think that's a really good aspect of like how they've used the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe to their advantage, where we've been building up. The fact that they could have a movie with like 40 characters in it and not really give you any character building. There's a little bit for Tony. There's a little bit for others. Like you get more of where they are at that one time, but they don't have to explain who anybody is in a movie of 40 characters except for the villain. And that is amazing.
Yeah.
That is why I love the movie. I'm not saying it's amazing, but I love it because I was impressed by how well they took something so ambitious, like a 10-year universe building with 19 different movies, and did such a good job at taking all of those characters that you have already grown to know and love, give all of them a moment, give all of them motivation for what they're doing. Maybe they didn't give enough time to a lot of them, but they took all of them and gave them their time to shine.
Right. And
then also made this big threat, which in another movie, I'm going to make the comparison to Justice League, which I think is fair.
Yeah.
In another movie, you would have Steppenwolf, who is just bad guy.
Right.
Who the crap is this guy? He looks terrible. His motivation is, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to get the things to do the thing. And you're like, oh, okay.
It's pretty much, if we're honest with ourselves, it's actually kind of the same motivations.
They're very similar.
I'm going to collect the things to be but
yes,
the things, the guy, the foreboding, all of that is attempted to be introduced in 45 minutes.
In the same movie.
Yes.
They do reference him in Batman v Superman, the extended edition.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's like, there's more when Lex goes into the Kryptonian ship and like... I haven't even seen it, but it doesn't matter because that's not the movie they released.
Yes.
But yeah, there's the real difference is they basically are doing the same thing, but you understand and care about what's happening a lot more because they've taken this so much time to build up to it. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's why I'm willing to forgive maybe not giving enough time to some of the more emotional character moments. I'm really hoping that the second one, I'm really hoping it's a Kill Bill Volume 2 situation where Kill Bill Volume 1 was action-tastic. Mm-hmm. There's a 45-minute scene where she murders hundreds of guys, and they literally have to put it in black and white because of all the blood. And then there's that cool scene at the end where she fights Oren Ishii, and then there's that other duel, and there's all these things. And the second one, you're like, oh man, she's gonna fight Bill! And the Bill scene is like a 10-minute philosophical discussion and a 5-second fight. But it's so interesting because you care about, the threat of Bill, these characters, and that's what I hope happens here, is that they take time to let the second one breathe and really play out those inter-character situations that they've also created over the space of maybe not 10 years, but several years now. I hope we're going to get Tony Stark and Captain America reuniting and dealing with what they've, their conflict that they've had. We're going to get Natasha and the Hulk, hopefully, having a moment to deal with what, like that kind of, like, that's what I'm really hoping for.
I hope for that too. I worry still though, because we're going to you want all of this, but guess what's going to be happening in the process? Captain Marvel is going to release. Ant-Man and the Wasp are going to release.
Ant-Man and Wasp, whatever.
Well, either way, like there's going to be more Marvel movies and now more characters.
Nope.
Captain Marvel's not going to be
half as many characters.
Oh, good call.
Remember how many people died?
Good call. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, they were. I'm guessing that the directors and the screenwriters were like, okay, this first one, we really have to shove everybody in there, get them their moment, and then let's kill half of them so we can take some more time.
Everybody who dissolves is going to come back.
Maybe.
Not everybody who dissolves.
We don't know that. We don't know what's going to happen.
I know that because Tom Holland is signed up for more than one Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, that's kind of a detriment. Also, one time, Chris Pratt tweeted, "Can't wait to film Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 with you, Mantis."
Yeah.
Like, things like this. Yeah, we know they're coming back. Also, obviously, they're coming back. That's, like, you can't do that in something, like, just the brand situation around it. Just resolve or remove some of the tension there.
And that's, other than the Peter Parker dissolving
that was great.
In Iron Man.
I don't want to go.
That was so good.
At the beginning of the movie, Tony Stark is talking about how he wants kids.
Yeah.
Probably motivated by the fact that he's got this protege who is a child and looks up to him. It's like, maybe I can do this. And at the end of the movie, he, whether or not he's right, blames himself for the death of that child.
Yeah, and he's holding him in his arms.
How great is that?
That's such a good
It's
moment,
not even
man.
right up in the front. You have to think about it. Oh, wait.
Beautiful.
They do a lot of good character building through that, too.
Tony Stark is I typically don't like Tony Stark. He's like one of my lesser enjoyed characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Really?
Yeah. Just because...
I think he's amazing.
He's great, but... his arrogance frustrates me.
You don't like his personality. It's not that you don't like the character. You don't like his personality.
I don't like him.
You wouldn't want to be friends with him.
As well as, at the end of the day, he happens to be the guy in this suit. Like, they could put a lot of other people in a suit that would.
Well, he's also the one that created the suit.
Yeah, but the War Machine's fantastic. And guess what? He's also a soldier.
Yeah, but War Machine can't build those things. He just takes the tools that he's given.
And so that's kind of my point is, and we have already established that Tony Stark can make suits for other people.
Yeah.
Like, why not make suits for... Anyway, but we're getting off track. But point being here, that was an incredible moment.
Yeah, it was great.
Beautiful
and
moment.
so, there were times when, character moments should have happened a little more than they should, but they also did some pretty decent stuff.
Yeah.
Overall, though, I would say that they did a very good job of taking the important elements of what they're supposed to be building up to over the last 10 years. Not everything's going to play in. You can't expect that. They're going to have to make some course corrections, all that kind of stuff. But I think what they were trying to do, they accomplished very, very well. Could they have been better? Probably, if you made some changes to what you were depicting or what you were trying to do. But I think what they promised, I think they kept their promise. That's what I'll say. I think they kept the promise that they. It's like the old Chekhov's gun. If you put a gun in the background of a scene, it's better use that gun, or people are going to be disappointed. And if you put Thanos at the end of if you put Nick Fury at the end of Iron Man saying Avengers, you better have Avengers. And if you put Thanos at the end of those Avengers movies, then you better have the Avengers fight Thanos. And they did. And they did a very good job doing that.
Yeah. I think that they made a promise, and I think that at some point they realized the gravity of the promise they made.
Yes.
And they did as good as they possibly could with the gravity of the promise they made.
Yeah.
What I think would have been better is if they stepped back and said, we're going to change our promise. We're going to do, like, and it would take a lot of work on their part, but they shouldn't have done, they did the right thing for them. What would have been better is if they made, like, 4 movies out of this.
I really disagree with that. That would have been so long and so... I think that would have been so much structure that they would have had to hold up. And
it's just, this to me was so rushed. And because it was so rushed, they had to make things there. Like, we didn't even get to talk about the MacGuffin things that I was really frustrated with. Thor's entirely. Like, when we think MacGuffin, a lot of times with, like, fantasy, sci-fi movies, you think, the magic thing you have to grab to beat the bad guy. Mm-hmm. That was literally what happened in this.
Sure.
Thor had to get the magic weapon to kill the bad guy.
It still had some explanation.
Yeah, it's some, but for the most part, it was just, his whole storyline was the MacGuffin of the movie.
Yeah.
And then the whole scene where they're trying to pull Thanos' gauntlet off, and it's like, why not just cut his arm off? You all have blades. You've established he can be cut with blades. Like, cut his arm off. Cut his arm off. Cut his arm off.
No.
You have a sword.
Yeah.
What is happening?
I don't think any of them had weapon. Like, it took all of that to cut his cheek a little bit.
30 seconds later, Iron Man turns his suit into a blade and tries to cut Thanos.
Tries.
Well, doesn't even get a chance to try and stab him. Thanos breaks it off and stabs Iron Man with it.
Right.
But my point is, like, and we see we see Gamora stab Thanos, but that's the Reality Stone issue.
Yeah.
But we see Nebula trying to hit him with a sword. I think she's another one of his daughters. If she couldn't hurt him with that sword,
that's fair.
She would not try and strike him.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah.
There's
a lot there. Yeah. I think that's a major problem. Also, just what his power level, his extent. What is he weak to? I'm not even saying like what's his weakness, like electricity, whatever. I'm just saying like we need some comparisons. We need some rules about what's happening.
Right.
I still think it overcame that with how fun it was to watch. But yeah, I agree with you there.
Iron Man slams an entire spaceship on him, and then he turns it into bats and is fine. But then later on, Iron Man hits him really hard, and he bleeds.
Sure.
And it's like just really, really unbalanced there. The Reality Stone itself, I did not like. Like, I disliked the Reality
They overcame
Stone.
that a lot with, like, they established he needed to like close his fist to
right.
use it.
And
so
they finally did that. Don't let him close his fist.
It open.
That was cool. I liked that.
Times, yeah, or
that
distracting him at the very least.
Yeah, but like if at any point he could turn, I made my own headcanon non-organic things. He couldn't just affect organic things. So
yeah, maybe.
So, but if he could do that with non-organic things at any point, why not just like no more suits for you?
Sure.
Suit people, like,
right.
There goes your gun.
Agreed.
Yeah, and it's just...
That was a problem.
Yeah.
That was a problem in the movie.
But at the end of the day, with the promise they made, I think they did as good as they possibly could have done. And I will say that, absolutely.
Sure.
They did as good as they possibly could have done. It's a great movie. Go see it, guys. It's fun.
They're struggling for money, so you need to really support them.
Yeah, it's true.
Support your local Marvel Cinematic Universe. They're on Kickstarter, I think. Yeah. They're raising funds for Avengers 4.
A GoFundMe.
They're raising funds for the 9,000 animators they need for Avengers 4.
The CG was phenomenal, by the way. Yeah. Holy crap.
To me, it was Josh Brolin, not in a suit, but it wasn't animated Josh. Like, to me, it was just, hey, Josh Brolin looks weird.
Well, and yeah, exactly. Yeah. And when you can get CG guy looking at the face like 3 inches away of real guy,
yes,
and have it not look weird,
right?
Yeah,
well, they hasn't been that good since Jurassic Park.
Hasn't been that good since The Mummy 2.
Dwayne the Scorpion King Johnson.
Oh man! All right, guys, let us know what you thought of Infinity War. For those of you who really, really enjoyed it, let me know how wrong I am about all of the things, and I will in turn tell you that you're stupid.
Yep.
Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for your support, and remember, save games, save lives.
See you next week.